you, Keith, and thank you, Alan, for inviting me to be with you today. I'm pleased to see that an MPP PowerPoint presentation did not break Keith's computer. Times are changing. All right. So I want to talk exclusively about Michigan and Massachusetts. The opposition, as we suspected, is coming out strongly against us. In Michigan, the opposition is composed of the State Prosecutors Association, the State Medical Association, the former head of the State Chamber of Commerce. The governor mumbled something negative about our initiative, but she's so unpopular it didn't even matter. And a sitting state judge is also leading the campaign. He's independently wealthy. This week he's doing news conferences with the drug czar and the deputy drug czar in Michigan, and they're generating little bits of bad news coverage for us around the state. They're not up on the air. They have done no advertising yet. They've done some auto calls to voters, lying about the initiative, and we don't know if they're going to be up on the air, but they only have 2.5 weeks left. So I'll get later on, I'll mention what our polling is. In Massachusetts, this is one of the liars. Law enforcement has come out strong against the decrim initiative. It's the state prosecutors unanimously coming out against the initiative. The state sheriffs, chiefs of police, Democratic governor, Democratic mayor of Boston, attorney general. The person who is leading the campaign in Massachusetts against us is Tip O'Neill's Democratic son. So we have the establishment against us in both states. That's nothing new. Anyone who's worked on this issue in just about any state or city knows the establishment is oftentimes against us. Exceptions would be Berkeley and Oakland and a few other cities, San Francisco, but in most places it's David versus Goliath. And the lies are coming out strong. In Michigan, they're saying that medical marijuana essentially is legalization of marijuana. They're saying that Michigan is going to turn into California, where there are pot shops on every corner, even though our Michigan initiative doesn't actually allow for dispensaries, and not to mention the fact that there aren't pot shops on every corner in California. So they're lying constantly, and we're actually going to be filing ethical charges against the judge for abusing his office to campaign when he should actually be in court hearing cases. In Massachusetts, they're lying. They're saying that the decrim initiative would cause more deaths on the roadways with DUI. It would cause more children to smoke. It would cause more adults to smoke. Let's see, I went down too far.
There you go.
A degree in engineering might make work. They're saying that animals will start smoking now. No, just kidding. There's been a lot of background leading up to this initiative campaign in Massachusetts. Activists across the state did a lot of good work from 2000 until 2006 to put local non-binding initiatives all over ballot all over the state in legislative districts. The blue parts of the state are state house districts. The red parts are state senate districts. In 32 out of 32 legislative districts, the voters passed non-binding decrim measures, which essentially said, do you think your state legislators should support a bill that would stop arresting marijuana users and instead impose a $100 fine? 32 out of 32 local communities voted yes. No local initiative has ever failed in Massachusetts. That gave us the thought that, well, if they can do it in 1/4 of the state, maybe we can do it statewide. And so the initiative that's on the ballot this November 4th, statewide, is in fact that notion of removing the threat of arrest and instead imposing a $100 fine and a $100 ticket. There's a whole host of penalties that currently apply to marijuana possession in Massachusetts. You're arrested. There's about 7,500 people arrested a year. You get the possibility of jail, although very rarely does someone actually go to jail. Keith might know something about that. You didn't have to do any time in jail for that, right, Keith?
No time.
Okay. The fine up to $500, automatic suspension of driver's license for 1 year on the first offense, 3 years on the second offense. You get a criminal record, which means even if you're arrested but not convicted, you're put in the state's database forever, and then the public can essentially look in the database and see that you were arrested for something. People don't know what you were arrested for, they know you were arrested, which of course causes huge problems for getting a job, housing, etc. You can lose your student financial aid, have your license to practice law or medicine suspended, you can be banned from adopting a child, you can be banned from serving as a foster parent, you can lose public housing, lose your job, lose unemployment benefits, and if you're convicted for just one joint, you lose your right to have a firearm for the rest of your life, even if the firearm has nothing to do with the marijuana cigarette. So our initiative will do away with all of that, and if this initiative passes on November 4th, someone who's apprehended with up to an ounce of marijuana will get a ticket, $100 fine, pay it through the mail, no lawyer's fees, no court appearances, and no threat of jail. As I said, there are 7,500 people minimum arrested for marijuana each year in Massachusetts. That number will shrink to 0 if this initiative passes. 6% of all arrests in Massachusetts are marijuana possession arrests. So if we can actually pass this initiative, it's going to give some relief to the overworked, overloaded criminal justice system. More than 613,000 Massachusetts adults report to the government that they actually use marijuana. The number is probably much higher. These people would no longer have to fear being arrested. And of course, as in all states, blacks are disproportionately targeted by law enforcement for marijuana offenses. And overall, the so there are 12 states. How you want to define how marijuana is decriminalized? Those are the states in gray. In Nevada, which is also a decrim state, we're obviously pushing to make marijuana completely legal in Nevada. We're going to give it another try in 2012. We've lost twice, 3 is a charm. Alaska, possession in the home is legal. And then in California, the measure of Prop 5 on the ballot would actually improve the existing decrim law. That initiative looks like it's probably going to pass on November 4th. And if this initiative passes in Massachusetts, you see up in the top right corner that we're probably going to have a big boost for decrim bills that are going to be moving in New Hampshire and Vermont. And in the meantime, the ACLU is working to build public support for decrim in Washington State and Montana. So that's kind of the lay of the land right now when it comes to decrim. Real quick, in Michigan, the medical marijuana initiative is pretty standard. It would allow patients with enumerated medical conditions to possess and grow marijuana for medical use, and it would also allow caregivers to grow for them, and it would also be allowed the exchange of money between the caregivers and the patients, which is a significant provision. There's been a lot of problems with that in other states that haven't allowed it. We've already picked up endorsements from the 2 biggest newspapers in the state, the Detroit Free Press, the Detroit News, and today I just learned that the paper in Lansing also strongly endorsed our initiative. So we're picking up endorsements across Michigan. And in fact, the Lansing editorial actually spanked the bad guys today. They said that their arguments aren't even believable, and that's why that they're endorsing us and not their position. Just have 2 more slides, and then I'm going to be yanked off the stage here. With medical marijuana, there's obviously 12 states where it's legal. The states that are in black, it's legal and it seems to be working well. The states, I didn't even see what color distinction there is there. Looks like they're all black, right? There's a color distinction on my screen, but regardless, 12 states with medical marijuana, Michigan would be the 13th. And finally, the national strategy is that in adding to those medical marijuana states, we're looking, the states in dark blue would be Minnesota, Illinois, New York, New Hampshire. Those states we're getting close to passing medical marijuana bills into laws through the state legislatures. We're just going to get started in places like Iowa, Pennsylvania, Delaware, North Carolina, Virginia. With those legislatures, that's going to be a long process, 5, 6, 7 years in some cases. We're going to be hoping to run medical marijuana initiatives in 2010 in Arizona, Ohio, if we can afford it, Massachusetts. It's debatable whether we can in Massachusetts because we might have to wait 6 years.